Hello you guys, I am the RPG Recusant and we are having another episode of Final Fantasy 13 today. So we have just escaped the Brescia ruins and now Snow has been taken in by Psycom. We saw him lose a fight there and Sarah's Crystal and him are now, taken in by the army. And we are in the dumps. We are in the dumps physically, geographically, emotionally, existentially. Things could be going a lot better. But right now we get to see our party member Hope, who kind of has been in the wings an awful lot of the time, just in terms of the party composition. And he is using Protect and Shell in the Synergist role to boost our defenses, allowing us to kind of just stay in these more offensive forms like Commando Ravager for longer, because we don't have to worry about switching to Medic being overrun, Now, we kind of only got 3 stars, but as I had explained earlier, the star system only deals with regenerating your TP, the drop chance of items, and...
This stuff is what was left over from the scrap the Fal'Cie took from Pulse to repair...
Yeah, he's such a little nerd. But basically, we haven't left Cocoon yet. This is just the outskirts of Cocoon. And basically, as we know from the data logs in the last, first episode, way back when, Pulse and Cocoon were at war. And basically, Hope's explaining that this particular area is just the junkyard of all the destroyed weaponry, airships, things like that. When they all got destroyed, the Fal'Cie basically took the machinery and used it to fix Cocoon after it was attacked hundreds of years ago. And we're now down to only a party of 2, so it really is, I suppose, important to kind of plan out what exactly you're going to do. So having, Ravager and Medic, just having all these different options that you can try and build a stagger gauge, but as you can see, without the commando there to stabilize, or unless Hope is also being a Ravager, it's going to be really difficult to have an enemy stagger really quickly. And so it's all about just shifting those paradigms so you get an advantageous outcome. But as you can see here, we have Protect and Shell on both Hope and Lightning. And what I'm just going to point out as well is that you need to keep a track of what abilities your AI companions have. Because as of now, Hope only actually has Protect and Shell. And so once all of those buffs have been applied to the party, he will not use another ability until Protect or Shell wears off. And so the problem with that is, if you weren't kind of aware of that and you were just keeping Hope in a Synergist paradigm, he literally won't do anything, because his AI will say, they have all the buffs applied that I can apply, so I'm not going to do anything. And so, staying stagnant and not changing paradigms is not going to be the ideal it's going to work. But even though we're in a party of 2, we can still, as you say, use the Ravager to build a stagger gauge and keep the pressure on with the commando for that just raw damage boost, And now we have the last dog here, and the enemies are now starting to use synergistic buffs as well. So the enemy wolf here has bravery, which is boosting his attack. So if we didn't have Protect on, we'd very easily get overwhelmed and KO'd. And that is one thing I do have to say about this game. The game, in being so specific with its encounters, and being so specific in what party members are available when, and in what combination their party members are available, it becomes a really good learning ground for what are the different benefits of things. And speaking of benefits, a preemptive strike on this particular enemy is really important, because once it's staggered, it actually doesn't do anything. It has this exposed core element, and it just stands still with this exposed underbelly, I suppose. And it highlights the importance of the stagger, because when this enemy isn't staggered, it has super high defenses, takes a lot of a beating, and gives out a lot of high damage. So it can become a strategy then of like, okay, even if there's other more dangerous enemies on the field, we need to kind of take this to a point of stagger just so we have some breathing room and we can work on,
Guess we have to go back.
you know, applying something different. And here's an interesting situation in our corridor simulator. One way is blocked and the other way is unscalable. And to cut a long story short, Lightning is like, let's just climb, and Hope's like, but I'm just a kid, I can't. And then she's like, you know, not my problem. See you later. I won't talk over the cutscene, but like, poor Hope is all I'm gonna say.
Can we get through this way, you think? You know where you're going, right?
I've been here on missions before.
Missions. Nothing to do with the Purge, though.
The Purge is SciComm's baby. Our military is split into two arms. The Public Security and Intelligence Command, known as SciComm, and the Guardian Corps. I was Guardian Corps, Bodum Security Regiment.
Wait, but I don't get it. If you're not SciComm, then why did you board the train?
For Sarah.
Join the end of the line! Attention Purge deportees. Follow instructions and stay in your lines. Personal belongings will be returned upon arrival. Halt! Do not leave your lines! This is for your own safety! Huh? What's the GC doing here? This op's under SciComm direction.
So direct me. Let me on. I want to be purged.
Only civs get purged. Sanctum staff and soldiers are exempt. Huh?
Then I quit.
Line up!
Excuse me. Hey, lady. What gives?
I volunteered.
Really? You don't look ready to go quiet into that good night.
You want quiet? You better take the next train.
Well, now I really want to see what you're up to.
I had to rescue Sarah before they transported the vestige to Pulse, and out of my reach. My only chance to save her was to join the Purge.
You're telling me you got on that train so you could save your sister? That's crazy. I could never do something like that.
It's not a question of can or can't. There are some things in life you just do.
Easy for someone like you to say. Lightning!
Hope is legitimately abandoned, but I think there's an awful lot of Lightning's character explained in that particular situation. So,
What are you up to? Hey!
oh god, this cutscene.
Wait up! can't keep up with this girl.
So this is really the Synergist chapter. So Hope had always had Synergist, and now it's saying that Sazh, as a Synergist, has spells like Faith and Bravery, so he's actually more of a offensive support. And then it also goes into the idea of three-way battles. So there are two enemies duking it out, and then we kind of jump in as a third.
You get tired?
And let's just quickly hop over to the Crystarium. So Sazh has a new role, Synergist. We are definitely going to get Bravery, have Faith in Bravery, and get ourselves some really high HP boosts. Like, that is nothing to sniff at. And then with Vanille, we're going to look at her new role, which was the Saboteur. So the Saboteur basically, at least in Vanille's iteration, is she lowers the defenses. So she's the complete inverse of what Hope does. So Hope applies Protect, she applies De-Protect. Hope applies Shell, she applies De-Shell. So as much as, you know, Protect boosts your physical resistance, De-Protect will cause physical attacks to do more damage to an enemy. And we're just going to tidy up those paradigms a bit and maneuver on. Now, when it comes to Stagger, what's really interesting, first of all, about these three-way battles is that you'll always get a preemptive strike because they are in combat and they are distracting each other. And so here we have our Faith and our Bravery. We're going to apply that to ourself and Vanille, and then we're going to start kicking some mechanical booty. But what's interesting about the different classes and how they impact the stagger, we've already known that, like, okay, Ravager, quick boost, falls quickly. Commando slows it down. The Saboteur is interesting because the Saboteur causes it to go slowly. So you can use a Saboteur instead of a Commando to allow your Ravagers to build, and so long as the Saboteur is applying debuffs, it will actually slow down the momentum of the Stagger Bar's depletion. And now that we have Vanille and Sazh completely buffed with Faith, their magic attacks are off the charts. Powerful. And this is where I realized, oh, actually, I just need a Ravager Saboteur because that's basically like a Commando Saboteur, except it's just all magical damage, and you're obviously getting your debuffs in, you know? And going back to, like, I like the fact that it's these party of two moments. They're really trying to teach you about the importance of buffing, debuffing. So, like, when Lightning was on her own, she's the offense, and Hope, by necessity then, had to become the defense, giving her survivability by applying Protect, applying Shell. And here we have Vanille and Sazh. And Vanille is basically the... They basically are a glass cannon duo. Vanille is going to De-Protect, lower the enemy's defenses. Sazh is going to up our offenses to allow us to just completely overwhelm the enemy, you know? Like, even with a Faith, and getting these preemptive strikes as well, like, these aren't accidents. The game knows, okay, you would probably be at risk of being completely wiped, only having two casters that aren't as, I suppose, physically bulky as Lightning. But that's where they go, let's talk about, you know, three-way battles and always getting a preemptive strike and having the enemies not target you until one of two sides are finished with. And, you know, we'll give them half health. Like, they're all very specific game design decisions. And like that, you're now learning, oh, okay, my Saboteur, when they deal their spell attack damage, the chain gauge doesn't go down as quick. But what's also important to note is that, like, yeah, I needed to do a lot more Saboteuring before I turned dual casting. Like, it just runs out. But with Faith and D-Shell, even though we're not getting to stagger, we're still doing enough raw damage, even to this this type of an enemy, that, you know, we're not doing too bad. But look here, we're at 16, and if Vanille would start casting some deprotects, please. You know, it's like the debuffs are there, we've now slowed it down, we've gotten up to nearly 50. You know, if I was paying attention, I should have realised, oh, Vanille only has the 2 buffs. She won't get any more. But now we just turn it over to dual casting. Vanille starts spending her stuff, and we would have gotten a stagger. But it also doesn't matter, because again, we had that enough raw power with the buffs and the debuffs to take him out. We got 0 stars, but hey. And now look at this, we have like a 4-way battle. We've the wolves versus the ballerinas versus the robot. And then like Sazh just shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting, you know? Now, I then look and I go, okay, the pulse work drone is probably where we're in the most trouble. And so with the pulse work drone now completely deactivated, we can then just focus on getting rid of the ballerinas, making sure they just pop away. But the pulse work drone is getting a good walloping of just everything else still attacking him. So you have to think strategically. It's like, okay, what do I want to get rid of? And what you want to get rid of is the more sizable enemy groups. Like, if you just got rid of the pulse work soldier, then you could be swarmed in by the ballerinas and the wolves, you know? Now look, we can see now with this situation, the wolves would have just fought the ballerinas anyway. But at least if we do all these other things first, we will just be left with one enemy that's actually going to focus on us. And since these pulse work soldiers are like super strong, you know, having them be whittled down by everything else before eventually turning on us isn't exactly a bad idea. But what is nice is that even though Vanille, like, if she's done enough of targeting other things, she will just start to debuff something else, you know? So come on, Vanille, let's get those deprotects up. Help, push me up, push, 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 dual casting, let's go. And it's all about trying to time your different attacks so that, you know, if she could get all of her attacks first and then yours after, you can build up the chain without losing the momentum. And like that, we went from 0 stars to 5 stars. So again, just having a little think, a little extra, you know, decisions about it, never a bad thing. So we pick up a black belt. Yeah, pretty much.
This should do it.
And this is just really good map design. It's like, okay, you literally had your specialization of working with just, and the new roles, Saboteur and Synergist, learning how important it is to reduce their offense and boost, no, reduce their defenses and boost their offenses as a strategy.
Let's get this over with.
So look at this now, guys. 2 pulse work soldiers and 3 wolves. So we are definitely going to maybe, like, I don't know if I made the right decision there. I'm thinking maybe I should have taken out the pulse work soldiers, you know, because the wolves certainly wouldn't be as defensive.
Did you see that coming?
But anyway, I did it the other way. Don't know if I'm right or wrong or indifferent. And now that Vanille is done, those 2, we're just going to fire away some spells, just take out the wolves, and then hopefully get rid of the whatchamajigs, the robots next, you know? But what I also really like is that the party conversations and banters become so much more personalized, and like it will change as we go along through the story. But like what is super sweet is that like because it's not like other Final Fantasies where you might have choice over who's in your party, the fact that they're specifically divided into these little groups, you can get those, you know, sweet moments where Vanille's like, oh, like, well done, Sazh, or you better like keep up, you know, old man, and you know, all these different things. And they just have these really nice rapports with each other, you know? Really close call there with Vanille. Oh my god, I don't know how she survived. Well, obviously she didn't fall to 0, and so she just healed herself, but I was like, oh, I really thought that was going to be bad. So now, going back into our undermining, so Vanille can apply some Deprotect. And unfortunately the AI won't keep casting, so it's like I've already applied this debuff now. And we're just gonna hopefully change over and attack in time. Come on, come on, come on. Quick, 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 quick. And another one falls. And like, you know, I didn't even use the Synergist there. But maybe if I had, we might have just killed them all that bit more quickly and gotten a better rank. But back to the Crystarium. We're going to learn Vigilance, which boosts the odds of interrupting, so your attacks causing a kind of stagger or causing an interruption, and you are less likely for enemies to cause you to be interrupted, and like you lose out on doing your action in the A to B bar. And then we just move up a bit in Ravager, and then Vanille, we're going to just move up along Saboteur. That's all she can learn at the minute. We're going to have a look down to Ravager and just finish that off because we've gotten a whole new tier now. We can learn Fire, so we've like a bunch more elemental damage. So all of that's really good. And now it's like, oh my god, our paths converged again. How random.
We made it!
Where's Grumpy? Got left behind, huh?
Leave me alone.
Hey!
This is pointless. Can't keep up. Can't get home. It's over for me.
It's not over. We'll get you home.
I don't have one. Now that Mom is.
What about your dad?
So we're just having a flashback because Hope was also there at the fireworks scene with his mom. Like, Snow and Sarah were there, Hope was there, Vanille was there. You know, everyone was there. This fateful night on the 11th day.
Not making a wish, Hope?
Mom, you still believe in that kind of stuff? Wishing on fireworks? Really? That's for little kids.
Who are you calling kid?
You? What'd you wish for?
Oh, that next year, your father could come with us.
Why? It's better like this. We don't need him. That night, they found the Foul Sea in the Bodum vestige. The next day, soldiers sealed off the town, and we couldn't get back to Palom Polum. They forced us onto the train with everyone else. My mom, she was frantic. She wanted to get us home, so she tried to fight. She got tricked by Snow. He used her!
Let's get you home, okay? Your dad's gotta be worried.
Let him worry. Why should I care? He doesn't.
Any father cares.
Sazh?
It's nothing. Forget it.
Come with me, okay?
This ought to do it. You've got time. Get you back home. Your dad'll be happy to see you.
So do we think maybe Sazh might be a dad? Because quite an interesting thing he said. And again, I just have to compliment the game design. They've now given a situation where you now have 2 Synergists and a Saboteur, and, you know, really highlighting, okay, this is going to be the team for buffing, debuffing, putting on different things, having your triple Ravengers, and having your 2 medics. So this is really like the support team. You have like the 2 healers, the 2 Synergists. There's a lot of like positive healing energy vibes. But obviously if you get a preemptive strike against these type of enemies, we don't need to do any of that. We can just throw on an LD shell and then hop over to our triple Ravengers again and just melt them like butter. Oh my god. Like doing nearly 700 damage with the D shell and the stagger. Madness. But that's pretty much going to be at least this episode anyway. We've kind of come a long way. But I really want to kind of highlight that little scene. Like, you got to kind of see Hope just being a normal teenager who is like a bit moody and obviously having some, you know, issues with his father. And there it is, folks. I found the weapon and I was like, I remember selling stuff to buy Hope a weapon. Did I in fact just waste that money? When in fact there was a... Yes, there was. You know? So, look at lessons learned. I'm not perfect. But, you know, we can always upgrade the weapon differently or whatnot. Look, I just made a mistake. I'm sorry. But, speaking of upgrades, let's level all our people up. And then once that's done, we will end the episode and pick it up where we left off. 420, way! Sorry, that was really immature. Anyway, talk to you next time.
Make my wish come true, let darkness slip away.